Hello everyone, and welcome to another part in the Aurora 4X tutorials. Today we are going to design an anti-missile missile. It's not going to be something that complicated. If you watched the previous tutorial and you understood it, you are not going to be surprised by what we are going to discuss today. Again, as with the previous video, it goes without saying that whatever I mention in here is basically just a guideline for you to apply to the technologies that you have, to the enemies that you face, and to the ships that you are trying to equip. So, what is an anti-missile missile? Well, basically an anti-missile missile is a missile that is not intended to hit a ship or a planet, but is intended to hit and destroy an enemy missile. Now, the missile we designed last time was going around 70,000 kilometers per second, if I remember correctly. Now, that is something that is extremely fast and would be probably very hard to counter. This is the reason why ships usually carry only several of anti-ship missiles, but a ton of anti-missile missiles. You need to understand that to hit something moving really fast, you need to be mostly being more agile and even faster than the thing you are trying to hit. Now, the good news is, you don't really need a warhead for that, because 90% of missiles you will create, and I'm actually not entirely sure, but I think that all missiles that you will face will have no armor. So that means that you need only a value of 1. Your warhead needs to be only a value of 1. So that means we can remove this number and put 0.3, I believe is the smallest one, or 0.25, 0.24, yeah, 0.25. So 0.25 missile size will go to the warhead to do damage 1, which will be enough to destroy any unarmored missile that you will be facing. Now then we have fuel capacity, and we need the engine type. If we use the same engine as last time, the amount of speed we are getting from it is pretty decent. The problem we would be facing here is the fact that the range is far-fetched. Well, of course, depending on what kind of sensors you have on your ships or on your deep space tracking stations or whatever is tracking this kind of attack that's coming to you. But 79.7 million kilometers seems excessive. So with an anti-missile missile, I would go with something like 0.1, maybe even 0.05. How would that be? 10 million kilometers. Well, thinking about it, if it would went at a speed of 80,000 kilometers, or if it went with a speed of, well, 2 million kilometers, that's something that you will actually use in the beginning, but not right now. I'm gonna go with this. It really depends on what kind of sensors your ship would have, but, you know, hitting the actual enemy missile is so important that if you hit it on a close range, it's better than to have a really long range. But it depends, really. You need to know what kind of range you have and what is coming to you. 10 million kilometers doesn't sound all that bad. 0.01 would be 19.4. Wait, did we have... yeah, 10 million. I'm gonna go with this. 0.05. This will be like an emergency missiles that will be launched when the enemy fire goes below this range. But again, if I'm not designing this for an actual ship, all that I'm speaking about here is basically just nonsense. So you decide what the range is, and you decide what the speed is, what kind of engine you will be using, and mostly, and this is really important, missiles are usually shaped against an enemy that you encounter. In the beginning you can think whatever you want, but when you face an actual enemy, you will have to decide what to do. Now, this missile has a speed of 80,000 kilometers, which is actually decent. However, we need it to be way more efficient if it's going to hit the enemy. The fact is that it's 1.8 size of missile size at this point, so we can go a bit further above this. So having a agility of 0 can be quickly turned to 0.2, which will make the missile slightly slower, but you see that the chance has gone up. Now the important part is that if we made it 1.2, the chance to hit wouldn't go that much up, because the actual agility factor slows down your missile. So at size 3, this would have 172% chance, or 172.8% chance to hit an enemy missile moving at 10,000 kilometers. If we would go with something like 2.2, I think the diminishing effect will, yeah, it actually makes it worse. So 1.2 makes it like this, 1.1, no, so 1.2 is actually better, okay, 1.2 is the maximum we can go with for the agility to get. Now, of course, you could put more engines on your ship, you know, more engines on your missile to make it a bit more efficient, but that really depends on how you are going to approach this. Now, I would be pretty happy with this. It's a size 3 anti-ship missile. I might even, you know, one thing that can work is making a smaller engine that will be as efficient, but not with this huge size, and you can maybe fit it even to a size of, say, 1 or a size of 2. It depends. Again, whatever type of launchers your ships are going to have, whatever things you are going to carry around. But the important part here is that you need to understand that even a missile as this, with such a speed and topped agility, will not have a very high chance of hitting a missile going at around, say, 60-70,000 kilometers. I would think it's like 10 to 15% chance. So you will on average need about 5, 6, 7 missiles to destroy one enemy missile, which is the reason why you should always have either fast reloading launchers or carry more than one of those. This is important in the fact that an enemy is going to launch a salvo of, say, 2 or 3 missiles at you from one ship, so you should be able to counter this. This is where the range really comes into play, because the more time you have on the enemy missile approaching you, the more time you know about it, the more missiles you can launch against it. On the other hand, of course, the longer the range is of the missile, the slower it gets, so the chance to hit it goes away. So really, this comes down to your design philosophy as much as the anti-ship missile comes to. What launchers do you have? What size of ships are going to carry the missiles? What warheads you need on it? What kind of armor? What kind of enemy you're facing? How far can your sensors see? How massive the enemy is being? How many ships he is sending? What kind of launchers you will be putting on your ship? What kind of missiles were you using up till now? You know, so many questions. I could go on, but you need to work all of this into your calculation when you are working with an anti-missile missile. And you need to utilize it in a way that will make it work for you, for your missile, that will make you actually say, okay, this has a chance of hitting what enemy is throwing at me. Now I'm designing this on magnetoplasma drive, as I did with the previous missile, but the numbers and the scaling is pretty much the same with whether you're going conventional, nuclear thermal, nuclear pulse, ion, or if you're going even further than the magnetoplasma drive. You just, the ratios are always going to be the same, so that can soothe your soul. On the other hand, this is one more reason why encountering enemies who have better engine type, or, you know, better generation of engines. If you're, for example, in ion and you're facing an enemy in magnetoplasma, this is why you will cry, because his missiles will be so much faster than yours. So much faster. So anyway, I hope this helped you with designing anti-missile missiles. And we are going to move towards turrets next.